Hey guys, what's up? Well, today is Sunday, also known as go somewhere in a vintage Mopar day today, and that's what I'm going to do. I was going to mow first. We've got a brief respite from the rain. It rained all yesterday evening and through the night and stopped this morning, but I think it's going to start again. The wind is blowing 90 to nothing out here, so it's coming back. But otherwise, it's nice and clear, so I think I'm going to do this first. I'm going to take the car down on its first real road trip to the recycle place in Athens to turn in all my recycles. I know it may surprise some of you to know that people in the South recycle, but we do. Some of us actually know about that, I guess. But I'll show you what I got here. I got this bag is all full of these plastic bags you get from the grocery store, since I don't do paper anymore, most of them. These are pop bottles. The whole thing's full of pop bottles, plastic pop bottles. That's cardboard. Got this back seat's full of cardboard, and another small bag of plastics over there. So I do this because that, you know, I'm not necessarily a tree hugger. If I was, I wouldn't be driving these old cars that smog up everything. But I don't like throwing plastics and stuff like that in the trash because it never decomposes and it pollutes our earth. It really does. So if you don't recycle, you should consider it, getting into that. It'd be good if you do for our future generations, you know, long after we're dead and gone, so people still got to live here on this earth. So you know, you can get those bags at the grocery store pretty reasonable, and so that's what I'm doing. So I haven't had this car out on the road like a trip anywhere really. I've just been driving around town. I've put about 100 miles on it around here, and it's went pretty well. I had some carburetor issues, so I swapped the carburetor back to the one I had. I tried excuse me, I had a Holly, but Holly didn't want to play too nice, so it is what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna check oil and get on the road, and we'll do a few handheld video shots of just driving around down there. See you then. All right, Slant 6, you ready to ride? Well, what happened to my oil light? This cluster's been a cluster. Alright. Boom. Never mind that, there's those bottles popping in there. I'm trying to minimize the clearing of my throat and stuff like that. I've had horrible, horrible hay fever. I have it every year. I mowed grass last weekend and it got me then, and so I'm still kind of suffering with the after effects of it. So what happened was I forgot to wear my mask. Okay, I'll see you down the road. fails, there's someone going slower than I am. Welcome to Alabama. There's a motorcycle for sale. I saw that last time I was here. It's pretty rough. That's a candidate for Mustang. Well, we made it into the big city. Bless his heart, that poor old man, he just poked along and poked along and poked along. And when he got closer to town, he just got even slower. And when he got to the T intersection we had to go through back there, he just pulled out just so slow. Like, I'm just gonna show everybody that I don't have nothing to do today except just drive around out here. I'm not in no hurry. Hey baby, ooh, didn't intend on that, but I'm not regretting it. There's the courthouse, Hill Valley Courthouse. Remember that from the movie. So we got to take a right here, I think, on whatever this street is, Washington Street or something like that. These got these typical southern, North Alabama, southern Tennessee names for roads, like Church Street, Washington Street, stuff like that. Come on. My dad, when we were coming up, my dad used to rail about, oh boy, this wheel's hard to turn on one hand. He used to just rail and complain about people that are, he called them Sunday drivers. He said people just get out on Sunday drivers and just, on Sunday rather, and just poke around. That's all they do, just out for no good reason. And really, you know, you don't have to have any good reason to be out for a drive. So, not much to say about it, but he didn't like it. And I do get frustrated myself sometimes. Okay, on to the recycle place. Okay, here's the recycle place. We made it this far. And there's all the people coming out at one time, the sheep. I gotta set you down there. Hang on. So you just select from all these containers where you throw your stuff in. Quite exciting. Oh no, Tasco isn't open today. I was going to pull in and get an oil change. Darn it. Alright, well, I'll try back another day. Darn it. That's how it goes sometimes. Alright, headed back home. I just crossed over the interstate again back there, and it is stopped solid, bumper to bumper. It's a good reason to stay off the interstate. This is old US 31, by the way. Get her right on the old double nickel. almost like another video I made. Nobody coming. Come on, light. Thank you. Okay, I think I'm gonna grab a light lunch from Subway and then head home. Alright, got some grub from that place. Hopefully I won't have to be in the restroom in about an hour. That happened a lot when I first started back eating some Subway stuff because all their preservatives in their food. All this fresh and good for you stuff, don't believe that. It's a crock. That place is always busy right now about noon on Sunday because everybody's just got out of being told how to be good for the upcoming week. They're in there eating. So anyway, we'll see. This whole thing will start back up again. Hope it does. While the wind is rocking the car. I'd sit at an intersection coming back from town and it would just boom, boom, boom. Okay then, let's go home. We made it. We're back. Yay. That was about, let's see. That was about a 45-mile round trip. And that's the first time this car's ever been driven more than about a couple, 3-4 miles at a time in who knows how long. So I deem this a rousing success. I think I'm going to stay in here and just summarize the trip, kind of how things went, because you know that's kind of a thing, you know, when you have an old car and you haven't driven it in a long time and you've never really been familiar with it, you kind of learn stuff about it when you take it on a little road trip like that. And I'll tell you what I learned about this car. First and foremost, it runs great. Now that's significant for me because this car just never could get this thing to run exactly right. It would not. Sometimes it just, you know, well, for a while, most of the time it didn't run right. It just sort of acted like it was down on power and ran kind of rough, kind of surged when you were just cruising at part throttle and stuff. So I suspected that something was wrong with the carburetor, and I have swapped carburetors on this a couple times. The engine that originally came in this car was 170 slant 6, and it had a BBS, Carter BBS carburetor on it, and it was not the original. It was a reman, so I picked up I think I found one in a junkyard, and then I picked up another one off eBay to kind of construct one good one out of one that's not never been remanufactured. So that's what I did, and like I said, it worked okay. But when I put this other intake on that Jamie gave me, that engine in there had my friend Jamie had a carburetor on it, but it was a Holly, and that thing it was not Jamie's fault, but it didn't run for more than about 5 miles before it started crapping out. So I had to go back to one of these Carters. So I rebuilt this thing again, and this time I realized I got all my parts out and got all 3 carburetors apart and laid out so I could look at jets and metering rods and step up piston springs and step up pistons and stuff like that, and just make sure that what was in a particular carburetor was what was in it was what's supposed to be in it. And you have to go back to look at the Carter carburetor pages to do that. They specify the jet size and rod size and all that. So I did that, and I come find out I had swapped some parts inadvertently. I hadn't thought about it, I guess, when I built the carburetor. So it was jetted way too lean. It had too small of a jet and too thick of a rod in it. So I found the correct combination, which was a tapered metering rod with a power tip and a 293 jet, which is one of the more rich jets, and it runs great now. So excellent. It used about, I guess it used about not quite a quarter tank, maybe closer to a little over an eighth of a tank of gas going down there and back. So that's, you know, for an old car, that's fine, but it ran good. It drove good. It's got a little bit of slop in the steering. I think that's from the steering box, because when I was working on it many times previously, and one of the things I did was check the steering linkage. So the front end seems tight on it, rides good, doesn't make any noise, doesn't pull, brakes work good. They're not the strongest brakes, you got to really step on them, but they do work good. They don't pull or anything like that, they don't squeal. One thing I noticed was, well, for one thing, this cluster's got to come back out because it's not acting right. The gauges are working okay, and the brake light works, and the illumination works, but nothing else works. I don't have an oil light anymore. Turn signals don't work, so I really need to have that remedied. So I thought I'd fix that the first time, but evidently not. Next thing is that the turn signals don't cancel themselves automatically when you go around the corner. So there's a plastic cam of a thing in there, which is, I've got another steering column, but I don't think it'll work in this one because the columns are different, but you can replace that canceling cam. So I'll probably order up one of those and do that. Another thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of rubber line, I believe, and I'm going to reroute that tank. Here comes the train. I'm going to reroute this tank vent on this car. The tanks on these, they vent directly to the atmosphere. So what it is, instead of it routing up like to contain the fuel vapors in a canister, or route back to the engine, it's got a metal line that goes right down in, exits into the frame rail. So the problem is when it sits in the garage or something like that, and the tank, the fuel expands in there, it gets warm, you smell fuel. And when I was driving this, I smelled fuel from back there. Like if you top up the gas tank, you'll smell it pretty good. So I don't like that. So I think I'm gonna end up taking a piece of rubber line and attaching to the end of it and running it back out of sight down back to the back bumper back there. So hopefully that will exit that further back into the slipstream, and I may not be able to smell that bad. You don't need to smell it at low speeds. If you get up about 55 or so, you tend to smell it, fuel a little bit. So, because really, I mean, you don't need a false positive from back there, because if something were to happen up here at the engine and you start losing fuel somewhere, you need to be able to smell that from up here. So, but otherwise, it's just a good running car now, seems to be. So I think we're basically done with this. I don't think there's anything else to do on it. I want to replace this windshield because it's fogged up around the corners, the edges. I don't like that at all. So I got another windshield that's was in that green car, so I may have that done. The only gotcha on that is I may have to do a little bit of repair under where the channel is, but we'll see. But and when I replaced these door seals, kind of showed you a little bit about that. Evidently, that cured all my water leaks. I had a water leak down here, and it's been doing it so long that it has actually rusted the floor out a little bit under there. But after a rainstorm, I'd see water over here, and I'd see water over here, and now it's all totally dry. So that's excellent. But anyway, we're gonna get on that one next. I've been already working on some stuff on it. Worked on the trunk, cleaned it up, got the interior back in it. So we're gonna get back into working on that engine and see if we can breathe life into it. You can see I moved the Oldsmobile out here because I was tired of it sitting on the pad over there. I was turning the pad, getting the pad dirty, and it looked just kind of bad over there. So I wanted to be able to, whenever I want to, I can move my company car out and park all 3 Mopars out there and admire them from the house if I want to. So, simple pleasures. You don't think somebody's had their arm up here, do you? So last thing I guess I'll note on this is that people are impatient drivers, myself included. I'm disappointed to say that, but you know, people just rode my rear end through town and stuff, and you know, I don't know, it's just the way we've turned into. I hate that, but all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna do some grass mowing. I think maybe before the rains start again. Get a little bit in. I see I've got to work on that truck too at some point. That's probably gonna come after the Dart. You see that? That's a snapped brake cable back there. I wondered why my emergency brake pedal went to the floor when I tried to use it. Now I know. So time to give that thing some more attention. That was on the docket anyway. I want to fix the brakes up, replace the master cylinder. I want to work on that interior, spruce it up, probably redo the seat and the floors and all that. So we'll see what's up. Alright guys, well, thank you again for riding along with me. We haven't done one of these in a while, and I know some people have GoPros mounted here, and GoPros mounted there, and GoPros mounted up there, and all kinds of views, 360 views, rear view, front view. But I'm just a simple man. I just use a handheld camera most of the time, and it's just what I can do with what I got. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next one.